Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to share a few thoughts with you guys, and I wanted to like bring in, I was thinking like, I want to share a really positive, kind of uplifting message for you guys because that's the kind of mood I'm in actually. And I just like, it's like the way I explain things or what I talk about, or, it's like my resting face. I don't like naturally like bring across that kind of vibration though, even when that's totally what I'm on. And so I was sitting here thinking like, well, what is it that I would share in that vein or how, right? Some people can be like natural, like humorists and like they can just tell jokes and stuff. And I have a horrible memory for jokes. I have a great sense of humor though. I just don't write it unless it's totally unintentional. But I think it's because a lot of the kinds of positive messages that we're used to hearing and seeking and may even be addicted to, so much of them are from the old world of a lot of illusions and so many old paradigms. And so much of what I've actually been personally focused on in the last like 8 years, maybe I would say, really intensely, is just like what actually gets you free, what is actually liberatory, right? The terms of liberation can't be completely external, they need to come from within. And it strikes me that, well, first, let me just say that for me, we all speak in different languages, right? And one of my languages is for sure understanding, right? Like, understanding can definitely push you down along the path of liberation, right? Um, a near death experience can also, right? So there's different ways. And I guess the point I'm going to try to make for this video is that so many people, let's just look online because right now you and I are both online. This is a digital space. And whatever social media you're on, just think about the kinds of influencers there, or, so many people are selling and seeking some form of certainty, right? So, not that there's anything wrong with like having an offering. I've got offerings, right? And promoting your offerings, promoting your work, that's fine. But it's the root is like, selling someone certainty. Even if it's not like an actual like check out my course, we crave this kind of certainty, right? And you can even argue that even in seeking understanding, that's perhaps a seeking of a kind of certainty, although I would counter that still because it's a more elongated process, it's an ongoing process. And like the game of Go, I always say you can still overturn another piece. But what is it that we are seeking in this kind of certainty? We're either seeking recognition, we're seeking to be seen, we're seeking to be held, we're seeking to share space, we're seeking to exchange with others in presence and in meaning. But what is that actually when you do have an experience like that? Let's say you're at a beachside cafe and you're on vacation, and I don't know, you're waiting for your partner's shopping and you end up striking up a conversation with a stranger there, like maybe a local who lives there, and you could never have predicted this conversation, but it ends up being like one of the most, for some reason, it's so inspirational to you. And it's because it has opened up this field of presence and this exchange of meaning. And it's literally like, it's not an experience of someone being a mirror to you. It's the experience of someone as a window into a whole other world or a whole other aspect of the world that you would never have access to on your own. And that's not about like tourism. That's about that meaning, that level of meaning, that perspective is actually something that could be a mirror here because it kind of reflects back to you like, oh yeah, maybe I remember looking at life that way, or even just maybe I could look at life that way. And so, in a sense, that's part of the spirit in which I do these videos as well, because if you've been around my channel, you know that not all of my videos are explicitly about like teaching you like 1, 2, and 3, parts 1, 2, and 3, 3 hacks, 10 hacks, more about like developing the implicit meanings in a lot of the language that we use, because language is an archive of what we actually think, what we feel, and really like excavating on that register. It's a form of sacred exchange. And if you're new here, you can check out a couple of videos I did on the sacred roots of language. So this is never about just talking, right? This is not chit chat. This is not small talk. When you listen to a sermon, for example, or you listen to a lecture, your brain is doing certain things, your mind is focused on certain things, and other parts of your soul start showing up too, and they're in the background. And by the end of it, you felt a transformation that you couldn't have predicted, and maybe you still can't even put your finger on, but you feel lighter, like your perspective has opened. You've literally experienced an opening into truth. And that's what we're looking for, right? That's what we walk through. That's the portal. And you're never going to get that with these attempts at certainty so much. The 8 hacks for doing this and that. It's helpful, but it's just not that level of meaning. And it's really because a lot of those kinds of methods and counsel it's so much of it does still belong to like a very instrumentalist and reductionist paradigm. And when you combine those two things together, that's what makes things completely soul sucking, total burnout over the long term. It's really indignifying, actually, like when you see some really stark examples of it. So yeah, these are two polarities, if you will. Not all forms of certainty kind of like bend to those rubrics, though. There are like noble forms of feeling certain, absolutely, right? Like a sudden insight that you get, a sudden integration of truths that you hadn't connected before. Those are also kinds of forms of certainty. So I'm not like totally saying that, the feeling of certainty is always misleading or something, but we got to keep drawing these distinctions. So let me know if this resonates with you, what questions it raises, if you've had an experience like this, or let me know of what you can plan. You can do this week, make a point of whatever it is, doing something like really out of your way like that. Like maybe it is going to a cafe and trying to start up a conversation with a stranger, or setting up a chess game in the park, or whatever it is, right? Something like really out of your norm, out of your status quo, and see like what kind of opening you can make, what kind of opening you can create and invite others into, that isn't just about, we're doing such and such for a specific goal, or we're trying to like fundraise money for this and this, or I'm trying to like achieve this and this, but just like creating like a total opening, like go to a public park, see what kind of random situations you can get into, and what kind of meaning, what depths of meaning and exchange you can actually experience that you couldn't have foreseen at the beginning of your day. So let me know how it goes. Drop a comment and we'll talk again soon. Hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the month of June. If you're celebrating, enjoy. And yeah, I guess that's my little positive, outro. Okay, I'll talk to you later.